Okay, this next video is 7x7 forms. So it's 7 ways to teach your forms, then 7 ways to do variations on the way you teach it. Okay? And like I said before, we need to be able to teach our forms with excitement, but also with detail. It's not good enough just to walk through the form. That's good to start with to get into memorization. But once your students start memorizing it, we really got to start breaking down the focus of each part of their form. That's one reason PMA, we don't have a form for every belt. We want, by the time they have to test on ILJANG at purple belt, that their ILJANG looks awesome. Okay? And by the time they test on EJANG, SOMJANG, and SAJANG, so we break it down over a period of time. But the problem with that is, here's the dilemma with that. They're doing the same thing over and over again. It can become very boring. But on the flip side, they can become very confident if it's done right. So that's why we have to have 7 ways of teaching it, 7 variations on top of that. 7x7. One, first and simple one, is by the count. Whether it's a block set or a form, by your count. 1, 2. Now, anytime you're doing this, you have to give them clear expectations. If I'm today going to work on their chamber, I've got to give clear expectations what their chamber is on each move. Okay, so in our forms, in our diagram of learning circle, what does it say first? Show and instruct. Show and instruct is always supposed to be done slower. That's where you set your expectations of the technique, set your expectations of stances, power, intensity, whatever it is that you're wanting to focus on. Remember when teaching, you don't want to focus on too much at one time. So if I give them one focus at first, maybe after the second or third time they're doing it, I might add another focus. But I never want to give, okay, guys, let's focus on this front stance, get the feet in the right position, and this chamber, and this snap. And I start giving all these different things, they're probably not going to get any of the focus. So focus on one thing at a time, but give clear expectations when you're doing the show and instruct. So that's by the count. Okay? That's one way of doing it, by the count. 2 is follow the instructor. I especially do this a lot with the younger ones, or when I'm really wanting to emphasize, like maybe I want to correct stances. So lots of times I do this with the block sets or the forms. I'll say, okay, guys, show me what you know. I'll have them do their block set, or I'll have them do their form. And then I see, man, their stances are really off, or maybe they're putting their hands in the wrong position. So then I'll have them follow me and correct the positioning as they're following me. Okay? 3, teams. So you have your camel belts through maybe yellow belts, orange and purple. And so then you tell them, okay, guys, you guys are going to do this form, or this set. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then you get them each going. And then you can walk back and forth between them, helping each of them, correcting them, having them do their form. You can assign one person to be on the count, however you choose to do that. So teams. 4, my favorite I use a lot is black belt time. So guys, you guys are going to do ILJANG, SOMJANG, EJANG, SAJANG. Alright, you got to keep doing that form until I say stop. And I want them to do that form. I'll give them one focus maybe. Let's say today is about weight distribution. If it's in leadership, I'll show them what I'm expecting about weight distribution, what I'm looking for. Or if it's about intensity with the basic class, I'll emphasize I really want that snap, that explosion on each technique. And then I will walk the line because I don't have to tell them, I don't have to count for them. I don't have to tell them what to do. They know what form they're doing, and they have to do it over and over again. And then I just constantly reinforce whatever my expectation is, intensity. All right, work with this child. 5, section practice. This is a great way to practice forms. Instead of doing the whole form, let's say like on EJANG, they have the part here. That one part. You might have them drill that over and over again because it's a weak part of their form. You might have them drill them based on the Samrong ILJANG. That part, okay, and making their kicks sharp and landing. It's a great way to practice forms, is breaking it down in sections. So number 6, doing their highest form. Tell them, all right, guys, Today I want to see all your forms. You're going to start your highest form and work your way down. And then once you're done, you just start back over until everyone is done with all their forms. So that's number 6. Number 7 is the opposite. You start at the lowest and work your way up to the highest common denominator. So you have 7 ways. By the count, following the instructor, doing it as teams, black belt time. 5 sections, practicing pieces of it. 6, highest to lowest, lowest to highest. You should do one of these variations every time you teach forms. Okay? If it's just a review time, a 5-minute review time, you're only going to do one of these ways. If it's the main focus for the week, like this week is Forms Week, when we're doing orange stripe testing for forms, you should do at least 2 different variations of it. So you should do one of these ways of teaching the form, and then you should do your variation. So you have 7 variations. So now I did it by my count. Now I don't want to just keep drilling it by my count. I want to change it. So I'll change it simply. All right, everyone, close your eyes and you're going to do it by my count. So variation number 1 is blind. A great variation. Number 2 is the challenge. Okay? Guys, everyone, I want to see who has the best front stance. Those with the best front stance are going to win. Everyone else, you're going to do 5 push-ups. By challenging them to do whatever expectation you want, it's going to motivate them internally. It's called intrinsic motivation. I can yell at a child and say, hey, that front stance is no good. Make that front stance, get that stance, stand there, hold it for me. I can do it like that, or I can challenge them where they challenge themselves to do better. And you're always going to get longer, better results by getting a student to motivate themselves than you motivating them. So challenges are great. Stance challenges, intensity challenge, memory challenge, fast. You can have fun. Who can do it the fastest? Who can do it the slowest? Third, remember the mindset? All right, guys, I'm testing you on your block sets and forms. That right there adds a variation. 4, with music. Just put the music on. That's a great variation. All right, guys, I want you to do your forms to music. You got to keep a nice rhythm with the beat of the music. Yes, sir. All right. 5, freestyle. This is a fun one you can do. So I just drilled it. We did it with the instructor. All right, now, I'm going to tell them, okay, guys, we're going to do it with me, but when I say go, so we're doing Iljang, and I get right here, when I say go, it's freestyle. You can add whatever you want. And when I say stop, you got to go back and start your form back from where the last move you left. Okay? What it does, it challenges them to really know their form and remember where they're at. Plus, it gives them some fun. They get to add, be a little creative. They love being creative. They'll do some crazy things. Number 6, doing slow. Okay? Slow or fast. Doing your form very slow on a 3 count, or doing your form really fast. Okay? Tell them really just knock out the power and intensity and going through that form fast. And then 7, a fun one if you really want to drill them on the form, memory-wise, technique-wise, everything. It's called stacking. So you say, okay, you got to do move number 1. Go back. Now do 1 and 2. Now go 1, 2, 3. Then they have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the time they're done with that form, they're ready to move on. You only have to do that 1 time, and you're done. Okay? So you have 7 ways of teaching the form, 7 variations. 7 variations is blind, a challenge, testing, music, freestyle, slow or fast, and stacking or stair-stepping. Oh, all right, guys, I hope this helps. These 7 by 7 will help you vary up what you're teaching. Still use our lesson plans and use the learning circle. Show and instruct. Always set your expectations for everything you do. You got to show. If you want good technique, you got to show good technique. If you want intensity, you got to show intensity. You've got to pre-frame that before you do any drill, any lesson that you're doing in your classes. And then you'll get better results. Then you've got to be able to drill it, but then vary the drill. It could be a fun variation. It could be a challenge variation. It could be a hard work variation, but you have to vary it. That is what's going to create that's going to create the excitement about what they're doing, and it's going to keep them engaged longer. Okay, thank you guys.